How can you create a physical object that evokes so many special memories? Well, Annette has completely cracked that with this beautiful quilt that she's made with a very, very special piece of Danish vintage fabric.
The overriding memory of this quilt is my holidays in Denmark, going to the beach with my grandma and sitting chatting to her in her sewing room while she would be sewing something for me on her old Singer sewing machine. And I think I can't think of another way other than quilting where you can have that immediate memory that's so tactile and yet useful. And I loved drawing and art, but for me, the fact that this is something you can use and touch and feel and is something that you can't get from any other hobby, really. She did everything but quilt, ironically. So she sewed my mum's suits, my mum's wedding dress. She used to sew all my winter coats fully lined. She sewed all my Cindy doll dresses and Barbie doll dresses for me. I wish now she could see that I'm sewing because she's no longer here. And I think she'd be shocked that I'm sewing, but also really proud. In Denmark there was an artist called Bjorn Wienblad, and I think he's become well known here. You see him sometimes in the shops here, and he's really well known in Denmark. I'd say probably 80%, 90% of the houses have something of his in it. And I was online and I just found this scrap of vintage fabric of his, and I bought it immediately, and it felt really precious. I'm not actually weirdly bothered about the sewing part of it, and I find the cutting part of it quite stressful, but what I love is putting together fabrics and choosing and finding fabrics and putting them out in the room that they're going to be in, and thinking about what it's going to look like and what it's going to be. And that is something that I love more than sewing. I wouldn't say I'm an accurate sewer. I don't worry about whether the points meet too much, but I would worry if the fabrics didn't sort of blend in and have something that I loved about them, a story about them. For my grandma, I think sewing was her job, and I don't think she felt it was a creative process. It was something she just sat and was good at and just did. And so now I think she'd be surprised that anyone would treat it as a hobby and have pleasure in making something, because it was very much about saving money for her to sew. And my mum would often ask her if she would make things for her, and she would do things that were asked for her to do. Whereas for me, I'm a very selfish sewer. I sew because I just want something beautiful at the end of it all, and something I can use and something I can feel proud of. And I think she probably would never have thought of it like that. This is unique to me, and I feel that the joy of this quilt is that I've rescued a bit of vintage fabric that maybe no one would have ever thought to use in this way, and now it's sitting here in England in something that's looked at every day, this scrap of fabric that someone may have thrown away, and it's used, and I love that.